Hello everyone, good morning. I hope you're all well. Welcome to our next Thrinchie. And I haven't even tidied my desk since the previous one. Oops. So this was our previous Thrinchies. So we've done 25 and 26. I love them. And then we've done 27 and now we're on Thrinchie 28. So I want one that will work nicely with this one so that they can work nicely together. Trying to find somewhere to put my book. There's no space. So again, let me just grab some scrap paper because I haven't put the black edge on. I always say, like Margaret does, I'm going to do a few at a time. And then the minute I've finished the video, I've got something else to do and I get sidetracked. So I'm just going to add the black just around the edges. Let's just get this going a little bit. Sometimes you need to give your Posca pen a little bit of priming by shaking the pen and just getting that ink flowing. But I don't want it flowing too much so that we don't want it flooding out. So we're going to add around all four edges, just so that we've got that lovely faux black mat. There we go. It always sets things off nicely, the faux black mat. I just think it works really nicely. So I'm going to then I've got that many things on my desk. I'm then going to take stamp set TE38 silhouettes, so I can use the branches here. Let's just take the tree. It's actually a good size, it's not quite so little. So I'm just going to grab a border acrylic block just because it's a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to use my Nocturne ink and I'm just going to ink the actual branches themselves. So let's give them a really good inking. You can see lots of tapping motions. And then I'm going to add the branches to the top of the Thrinchie. Just make sure I get the edges here. So there's that edge to edge branches towards the top. There we go. Got those lovely branches. And just get rid of a little bit of that black ink. And I'm going to add a few more. And I've got my old VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink pad. Not a problem, it still works beautifully. Going to tap again. And then I'm going to add a few more branches. I don't want them all facing the same way, so I've just turned that just slightly, just so that the branches are going a different way as well. Just lovely. If you want to, you can also add some second generation, but I think we've got enough on there because we don't want to sort of overcrowd that. And I'm not cleaning the stamp, I'm just wiping it because I'm going to pick it up and then I'm going to end up with that ink all over my finger. So I was just giving that a little bit of a wipe just so that I don't end up with too much ink all over my finger. I'm then going to use stamp set TE24, which is the Creative Spark, and I'm going to use the little light bulb. So I only need a little acrylic block for that. Just take this, and then I want the Sand Dune ink. So I'm going to take the sand dune ink. I'm just going to ink the light bulb. Now, you don't have to really get that. Oh, it's because it's wet underneath here. You don't really have to get the whole light bulb, just the outside edge. So let's have one down here, like so. Then we'll ink again. Make sure you're using that sand dune ink. It doesn't matter if you've got a gap in the middle, because you're going to colour that anyway. So then I'm going to have one. I'm going to faff for England. I'm going to have one here, like so, and then we'll ink another one. And it's beautiful out today, and I've got this jumper thing on. Ask me if I'm hot. I'm just going to grab another one. There we go. And I'm just going to take this jumper off. Because it's actually got a fleece lining. I never know how to dress, because one minute I'm cold and the next minute I'm boiling hot. Right, so we've got our 3 light bulbs. So then I'm going to colour those. So I'm just going to go for it, but let's just grab our colours a little bit. So on this one, so we've got the ochre. Think, what colour are you? I think I want a little bit of a grey. What colour? I don't want a cool grey. I want a warm grey. Let's have a warm grey. And again, we'll just give those a little bit of a sharpen. Again, I'm just turning that sharpener rather than my pencil, so the sharpener takes the strain, not the pencil. There we go. I normally have a bit of a longer point than that. There we go. And we're going to have that beautiful ochre colour, the yellow ochre PC942. I do love this ochre colour. There we go. So the grey is a warm grey, 30% warm grey, PC1052. So I'm just going to go around the light bulbs just a little bit. Just with that grey. Just to add it to the edges. Just give that a little bit of shading. Just with that grey. I'm just adding that just to a little bit of the edge. And as always, not pressing too hard. Just to add our first layer. Then I'm going to go to that beautiful ochre, yellow ochre. Just add the yellow ochre. And I'm just going to, you can see that where the ink has missed the light bulb, I'm going to leave the white areas there. You can leave the white areas wherever you want, but I've got some white areas just naturally formed from where I didn't press on the ink pad, because I said you don't need the whole image to be coloured. You can add your white areas all the way down the centre if you wish. And then going to come in and just add a little bit of that darker layer just to the light bulb. A little bit of a darker layer. And then I'm going to come back with that ochre. And just go into that grey. So I'm coming into the grey just to blend the colour a little bit more. And then I'm going to use the artichoke that I used in the previous one, PC1098. And I'm just going to add a little bit of the artichoke just around the edges, just a little bit darker. Just around the edge. And I'm going to go back to that grey. Ooh. Just go back to the grey and just blend in a little bit more, just so that that's nicely blended. So I'm filling in the white areas of the card just so that that smooths out. Then back to our lovely ochre colour. Just blend out that lovely ochre colour. And we'll just let that rest a little bit, and then you can either use a pencil or you can use your black pen, whichever you prefer, just to add some lines. I've got a micron pen here, so you can just add squiggly lines just so that your light bulbs don't look like they're just sitting there. They have got some, you know, they're attached to something. I'm then going to just add a little bit of my Inktense pencil, the Chinese ink 2030, I think the colour it says it is 2030. Yeah, I'm sure it says it's that. And we'll just blend that out a little bit. You can see I'm not using too much water. I'm keeping that sort of quite natural, and you can take it up further up to the area if you wish. There we go. Let's just wipe that a little bit. Ooh. And then I'm actually going to take the little yellow ochre, and I'm just going to sort of add a few little touches of the yellow ochre just to the little branches, just here and there. So I'm just randomly picking a few of the branches, and we're just using that pencil just to add some of that yellow ochre just to those branches here and there, just so that you can see that I'm loving love the Thrinchies. Just think they are wonderful. So I'm then going to grab TE12. I have to question myself because I'm like, have I already got that out? So let's grab TE12, which is the shadowed elements. And we've got our little bird on there. So that is that one. What's the other one? Oh yeah. So I've got our little birdie on there. So let's take that. If the poor little thing still sticks, it's so well used. Let's just stick that one back. Let's give this little bird, let's treat it to a little wash on the back. Poor little thing is so dirty. Place that down. And then I'm going to take our little bird. I'm just going to, what am I going to add? The little bird. So just add that just here. I don't need to press too hard. It's only a small bird. And do you like how I've stamped, what do I say to you? I've stamped in the VersaFine Clair sand dune. Okay, fair enough. Let's add a little bit of colour to our bird. I always say make sure you've got the right colour by your project. But let's just colour our bird. Actually, it's lovely in this colour. So I was going to stamp him in black, picked up the wrong ink pad, and he's now stamped in this colour, which actually has worked quite well. Happy accident. Do I want another one now? No, I quite like him like that after all that. Happy accidents. So we're just going to add a little bit of shading underneath, because we definitely don't want our little bird just floating in midair. So let's just give the little bird a so that it is definitely not floating. Just want to add a little bit of text, so let's put our little bird back. And then on the TE38, you see that it's got some lovely text on there. So I'm going to use that text on this occasion. Did I pull the, yes I did. So I'm going to use that text on this occasion. Now I don't want to use anything too harsh, so I'm going to use the sand dune and just add some of that text just to the background. Oh, just lovely. That text is just lovely. Let's add some down here. You don't really need to add too much text, but that is lovely. The text just sort of finishes it beautifully and works really nicely like that. So what I want to do now is, I've got this black in here, so I do want to bring in a little bit of that black. So I'm going to pick up the tiniest bit of text in the black and just add a little, oh, I've picked up the wrong ink pad again. move that ink pad out the way, nocturne. So I pick up the black ink, and here and there I'm just going to add a little bit, that's it, of black text. So you don't have to ink the whole piece up, you just want to add a little bit of text and you're not pressing too hard. That's it. So you've just got a little bit of that black text just to bring in the tree branches just a little bit, because then it works really nicely. Now I'm just umming and ahhing whether I want a little black bird just to bring some balance of that heavy black at the top. So let's just take that nocturne. Let's make sure that bird is not going to fall off there. Let's bring you down here a little bit. There we go. So you don't need to press too hard, but it just brings a balance to that black, that bold black at the top that's just down the bottom here. Just add a little bit more of that shading, just to the beard a little bit. There we go. And then if we add some white splatters to our piece, and obviously to get those white splatters going, you need to make sure that you pressed your pen so that that ink is flowing. If it isn't flowing, there's nothing to splatter. So you need to get that flowing. So then I want some text. So I'm going to go back to TE24, which is the Creative Spark. And I'm going to use the word original. Just gives that Posca pen a little bit of time to dry. And I'm going to say it out loud, Tracy, pick up the black. So original. There we go. We don't have to press too hard with that. Let's bring in our scissors just so that we can cut that. Just cutting it quite fine so there's not sort of much of the white card around the edge. And then I'm going to add my wording, and I'm going to add it sort of the opposite side just to give me some balance to my little birds. I need to fill my bottle up. So I should really leave it upside down. So I'm just going to add the original wording just here, just to give me that balance opposite the birds. Obviously we all see things differently, so you can place it wherever you wish. So I'm just going to hold that because it's going to move. There we go. Just so we can add a little bit of shading just underneath. That's it, just so that you can see that. And if I bring in my little book, I love bringing in the book and then adding it to the book. Just add this to the book, and then it really sort of works. It just works nicely. I just love that. So what I'm going to do first, just to give a little bit more colour, I'm going to grab just a touch of, there it is, our fossilised amber. So let's just take a little bit of the fossilised amber. Just take a little bit of that colour. And before, you saw me add the fossilised amber afterwards. Sorry, before in the previous one. But I'm just adding a little bit of the fossilised amber. And then I'm going to add a little bit just of the fossilised amber just around the light bulbs, just a little bit, just to give a little bit of that colour. So just a little bit more. And because I'm using this twiddly little brush, it stops me from adding too much of the colour. And I've not really gone over the Posca pen. I'm just twiddling a little bit of the colour because now I can see exactly where I want a little bit of that colour. And then I need to add some white touches. There we are. So I'm going to go in, make sure that we've got the white touches just to the top here of the light bulb. Make sure you've got a little bit of white just added. Can't even see if that's working. Oh yeah. So I'm just adding a little bit of white. That's better. A little bit of white to our little birdies. Just a little bit more white to the light bulbs. Just take your time. It's the finishing touches that really finish off your project. So let's bring this in, and then we'll add this to our little book. Just add that to our little book. And then I just need to add the numbers at some point. There we go. Just give that a little bit, and don't forget to press in the centre as well, just so that you've got that good adhesion into your project. And if we lift these up, you can then see you've got a page opposite that then coordinates with the previous page. Just love them. Absolutely love making them. So I hope you enjoyed that and you'll give that a go. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.